In June 1987, American Airlines opened a brand new terminal at Raleigh-Durham. It cost more than $100 million. At its peak, American ran 95 mainline flights a day out of it, plus 166 regional departures. It was a real hub. By the mid-90s, it was gone. American walked away. The airline that replaced it, Midway, hubbed there for 8 years and then collapsed days after September 11th. And Terminal C, the building American spent all that money on, was demolished. Now, look at 2026. Delta and American are running almost exactly the same number of flights at Raleigh-Durham, 28% share each. Neither one can pull ahead. United is there, JetBlue is there, Frontier is there, and a 3-year-old airline called Breeze has quietly become the carrier with more nonstop destinations from Raleigh-Durham than anyone else. An industry analyst described it this month in one line. It's the largest genuinely up-for-grabs airport in America, and the only one where Delta and American are truly head-to-head. So the airport American gave up on 30 years ago is now the airport everybody wants. But here's the strange part. Nobody wants to build a hub there. They want something else entirely. And it's the reason this story matters far beyond North Carolina. Start with the number that makes this unusual. At most big American airports, someone is clearly in charge. Atlanta is Delta's, Charlotte is American's, Nashville, the closest comparison to this story, is about 46% Southwest. At Raleigh-Durham, nobody has 30%. Delta sits around 28.5%, American around 28%, Southwest 12%, United 10%, Breeze approaching 8%. That's not a hub, that's a standoff. And the traffic is real. Raleigh-Durham handled 15.5 million passengers in 2024, then set another record in 2025 at just over 15.6 million. It's projected to cross 16 million this year. Here's the part that makes airline planners pay attention. Most airports that size lean on tourism. Nashville has music and bachelor parties, Orlando has theme parks, Las Vegas has Las Vegas. Tourist traffic is great for volume, but it's price-sensitive, seasonal, and it flattens out competition because everyone chases the same cheap leisure fares. Raleigh-Durham is the largest airport in America of its size without a significant tourism component, which means the people flying out of it are overwhelmingly business travelers, corporate accounts, and people visiting family. That's the most valuable passenger mix in commercial aviation. Higher fares, less seasonality, booked closer to departure. So you have a large, fast-growing airport full of high-value passengers and no airline in control of it. Raleigh-Durham sits directly next to Research Triangle Park, 385 companies. IBM has been there since 1965 and employs roughly 8,000 people locally. Red Hat, Cisco, SAS Institute, Biogen, GlaxoSmithKline, Novartis on the biotech side, and 3 major research universities within an hour of each other: Duke, North Carolina State, and UNC Chapel Hill. The region has more than 60,000 tech workers. Machine learning engineers there routinely earn between $190,000 and $300,000. That's not just an economy, that's a corporate travel budget. And it's growing faster than almost anywhere in America. The Raleigh Metro grew 2.4% in a single year, 10th fastest in the country. Since the year 2000, it's grown almost 85%, the second fastest expansion of any American metro area above 1 million people. North Carolina's Commerce Department counted more than 42,000 new jobs announced in the region since January 2025 alone. The airport's own economic footprint tells the same story. In 2023, it was assessed at just over $17 billion a year. By the 2025 assessment, $24.1 billion. That's a 42% jump in 2 years. But, and this matters, the boom has an asterisk, a big one. In 2021, Apple announced the $552 million campus in Research Triangle Park, 3,000 jobs, around $1 billion in total commitment, backed by up to $845 million in state incentives. Apple paused it in June 2024. North Carolina granted a 4-year extension in November 2025, which effectively resets the project's first year to 2027. As of today, no construction has begun. Apple employs about 1,600 people in North Carolina, leasing space in Cary. The campus that was supposed to be the crown jewel of the Triangle's tech boom is, 5 years later, still a field. Every airline expanding at Raleigh-Durham is betting the boom holds. Apple is the reminder that these bets don't always land. So watch what each airline is actually doing. Delta made Raleigh-Durham a focus city in 2018, one of only 3 it has, alongside Austin and Cincinnati. This year, it pushed Atlanta to Raleigh up to 12 daily round trips, which drove Southwest off that route entirely. It added Kansas City and brought back Indianapolis. Its regional subsidiary Endeavor opened a crew base there. But here's a detail that complicates the story. Delta's capacity at Raleigh-Durham grew about 2% year over year. At Austin, its other focus city, it grew over 12%. Delta is winning at Raleigh-Durham while investing far harder somewhere else. That tells you Delta is defending, not conquering. American is the one with history here, and its position now is almost entirely about 2 things: 10 daily round trips to its Charlotte fortress and a daily Boeing 777 to London Heathrow. That Heathrow flight is genuinely significant. A mid-sized American airport with a daily wide-body to London is rare. Breeze Airways is the surprise. It launched at Raleigh-Durham in February 2023 with 3 routes. By 2026, it flies more non-stop destinations from that airport than any other carrier, including Delta and American. Its share went from just over 2% to nearly 8% in a single year. It opened an operating base and in early 2026 added a crew base, bringing around 200 jobs. This summer, it's running about 32 daily flights, up 37%, including its first international routes to Punta Cana and Montego Bay. A 3-year-old airline out-destinationed 2 legacy carriers at a top 30 U.S. airport. That doesn't happen. Southwest, meanwhile, is retreating, down to about 12%, roughly half its pre-pandemic share, part of its broader national contraction. And then there's what happened on May 2nd, 2026. Spirit Airlines shut down completely. At Raleigh-Durham, it was small, about 2 flights a day across 5 routes, roughly 1% of the airport. But American and Frontier moved on those routes within hours. Frontier had already announced Fort Lauderdale service that spring as part of a 23-route expansion. Even the scraps get fought over here. Now the part that complicates the celebration. For all the growth, Raleigh-Durham has a strange gap in its route map. Across the entire Carolinas, Georgia, and Virginia, its own backyard, it has non-stop flights to exactly 4 airports: Atlanta, Charlotte, Reagan National, and Dulles. Charlotte, 165 miles down the road, has 27 within those same 4 states. If you're a business traveler in Raleigh trying to get to Charleston or Savannah or Asheville or Norfolk, you're connecting through Charlotte or through Atlanta, which means you're flying on American's or Delta's terms, through their fortresses at their prices. That's the trade-off nobody mentions. Raleigh-Durham has become a superb origin and destination airport by being nobody's hub. But being nobody's hub means nobody builds the thin, unprofitable regional routes that only make sense when you're feeding a connecting bank. International tells a similar story, though it's improving fast. Raleigh-Durham now has 5 European carriers: Air France to Paris, Lufthansa to Frankfurt, Icelandair to Reykjavik, American to Heathrow, and in April 2026, Aer Lingus launched Dublin on the new Airbus A321 XLR, the airport's first ever non-stop to Ireland 5 times a week. That Dublin route needed about $1.5 million in state incentives, plus another $300,000 from local businesses to get off the ground, which is the honest picture of Raleigh-Durham's international network. It's real, it's growing, and it's still partly purchased. So why does none of this turn into a hub? Because the last 2 attempts died. American's hub lost money even at its peak in 1991. It couldn't outschedule Delta's Atlanta or US Air's Charlotte, so American shut it down and eventually just bought Charlotte instead. Midway's hub lasted 8 years and ended with the airline liquidated. The lesson every network planner took from Raleigh-Durham is that you cannot win a connecting war there. It sits too close to two of the strongest fortresses in America. But you don't need a hub to make money at an airport where the local demand is this good. That's the whole story. Delta, American, United, JetBlue, Breeze, and Frontier aren't fighting to control Raleigh-Durham. They're fighting to sell seats to the people who already live there. Engineers at Cisco, researchers at Duke, executives at SAS, biotech staff at Novartis. The traffic generates itself. Which means the real question isn't which airline wins, it's whether the triangle keeps growing. So watch 3 things. Watch whether Apple ever actually builds that campus, because it's the clearest signal of whether big tech still believes in this region. Watch whether the new runway, 10,600 feet, over $500 million, targeted for 2028, opens on time, because it unlocks the terminal expansion everything else depends on. And watch Breeze. If a low-cost carrier crosses 10% at an airport where Delta and American are deadlocked at 28, one of them will have to respond. American built a hub here in 1987 and tore it down. 39 years later, 6 airlines are fighting over the same runways, and not one of them wants to own the place. They just want to be there when the triangle grows into whatever it's becoming.